So I kind of want to explain how I get measurements for when I do template. Well, I don't really make templates as much, but I figure out the measurements for what it is I'm trying to build. And in this case, because sometimes I can just take the image, scale it up in Inkscape, and print it out to whatever I want, but 9 times out of 10 I do a super cheap way where I just scale up the picture until it looks right, like size wise in my hands, then go up and measure it, which this is going to be 17 inches. So basically, just with those simple measurements I just did, that's literally all I do. I wrote out the oh, it kind of tracks it. I did the overall length of the blade, 17 inches. Then I did the blade itself's length, then the handle, then the cross guard, because those are all the main components on the blade. Basically, after I got all my measurements, I just took my foam, I drew out all my necessary lines, and I cut my necessary lines. So, we gotta carve the channel up to this mark, and to do that, I definitely recommend that you wear like a face mask, a respirator, and some goggles for this, because this stuff does kick up some dust. But here we go. Okay, that one was a little bit better. Well, actually a lot better. That one turned out pretty good, actually. So, to make sure we did everything right, now it should all and the thing you want to check for here is to feel if there's a bulge in the center, and also make sure that you cut it deep. Okay, and it looks like I did it just deep enough. Like this is perfect. This will work. Cool beans. And I'll use the rod to get my center mark for when I do the parts itself. Alright, so we got this ready. Now we just need to hit it with some contact cement. I hate my little like gator growl I did, but we're gonna do about 2 layers on each. So we'll do the first layer, quick, simple, and then we'll come back and do a second layer too. And for now, keep it out of the groove. We will glue that in later, but for now, don't do that. Alright, so to spread the glue, we're gonna do it like we always do. Scrap piece. That wasn't okay, yeah, that wasn't an important piece. Make sure it's not an important piece that you need. Be sure of that. I didn't check, but luckily that was all scrap. Yeah, and also, I apologize for my like astronaut breathing that I do. This weather's really got my nose stuffed or running, and it's just got me all over the place. I don't know. Now I'm gonna let those set for a minute, and while those set, we're gonna start cutting out and preparing our handle. Alright, so I had to change the battery pack, but we got everything figured out for what we want. But first, we can go ahead and put these 2 guys together. And before we put them together, I'm gonna drop just a little bit of contact cement in the center of it. That way when we put the rod in there, it gets all over it and it glues itself in place. But the rod will take longer to set up because we're doing it now. When I say doing it now, I mean like the contact cement, you need to let it set for a little while before you can stick the 2 pieces together. But since I'm just putting a pretty good amount on the rod and then just placing it in there, instead of handling it right away like you can most things, I'm gonna have to let it sit for a little while to just make sure that the contact cement holding onto the blade really solidifies and hardens up. And in the end, it actually did really well, and I liked it a lot. So we got our blade glued together. I'm going to leave it alone for a little while so that the contact cement in here can set up. Alright, so I skipped ahead a little bit because the handle's done the exact same way as the blade. So I went ahead and cut out the handle, glued it together, sanded it to shape. And I also cleaned up the profile of the blade a little bit. Got it shaped the way I want to. And then now we got to come back and put on the bevels. And then this piece, yeah, I spent a long time looking for that part. And then just the same old, you just trim down the edges just to eliminate some of the dust, because as you see all that dust everywhere, I already had enough. So I just eliminated what I could, but you just sand down the edges, get it where you need it to. Man, it's really weird not having to talk for a voiceover as much, because most of my explaining I've already done in camera in the video while I was recording it, so I'm kind of just stuck overviewing it in silence with not really too much to say. I explained it pretty well already. But I guess while I have this moment, who is your favorite character from Naruto? Personally, mine is Kakashi, but I'd like to know who yours is. Oh, and also right here, I went ahead and just super glued on the Suka, whatever it's called. I just super glued it on. And then after that, I just went ahead and glued everything together and got it all prepped out for paint. Went ahead and sealed it with some Mod Podge. So I got it hit up with 2 coats of flat black. I didn't know it was flat black. It was just the only black acrylic I had, and I did it. And then after I read the label, and it's flat black. So what you should do is make sure you have like a glossier blank. But what I'm gonna do, since that's all I have right now, and I'm just using up some of the supplies I have, now I'm gonna hit the blade with some we'll hit it up with a good thick layer of some gloss Mod Podge. That way we have black with gloss over, and it gives us kind of a gloss black. I ain't never done it like this, but I'm gonna give it a gander. So now we have a gloss black blade and a flat black handle, which works because the handle shouldn't be shiny, but the blade is, but the Suka is not, I don't think. It's a different color, so I'm gonna do it more matted than I am what's it. So as for the paint, this was pretty fun actually. I got to just mix together a lot of colors and play with a lot of colors. For the blade, I end up coming back later and mixing that same sterling silver with a little bit of white to brighten it up a little bit. And then for the crossguard area, I mixed it with a little bit of black paint to get that darker gunmetal color. And then for the handle itself, I took brown and then mixed up some black and white to get my gray, because to me the handle appears to be this like grayish brown. So I mixed it up till I got the color that looked about right to me, and then threw that on there in 2, maybe 3 coats. And then off camera I made the sheath for it simply because it was made with all the same steps, and also it just, I didn't think to record it because I built it very cheaply and like poorly. It's not made well. It was just so that I have a way to display it. But I like it, so thank you guys for watching, and see you for the next one.